All right, this is Steve. Another Bikes We Ride. This is our bike shop, Macklin Bike Shop, and I thought I would share the mountain bike I've been riding this summer. So this is a Cervelo ZFS-5 in a 120 version, and it's the XO drive, transmission drive, which I'm digging. I really like it. I'm gonna say that with a caveat. So like I could totally ride all the old school mechanical stuff. Quite honestly, if we stopped that 10-speed Shimano XT, I'd be quite happy. We're pretty spoiled with the bikes that we have today. Although I guess Shimano XT 10-speed stuff didn't quite get us there what we needed with a 1x drivetrain. So anyway, I guess I'm gonna run through this bike. The bike it's pretty much stock, with a couple caveats. The fork's been swapped out. Had this fork from a 9er Rocket, and just thought it'd be fun to swap it out. Actually, the stock fork that came on it is actually a smidge lighter, but I don't know. Thought the orange kind of looked cool. And previously, I had some Vitoria Barzo Mezcals with this tan sidewalls mounted on it, and they look really good. And anyway, so just having fun with bikes. But right now, it has Schwalbe Racing Ray and a Racing Ralph on the back. It's a SRAM transmission XO drivetrain. That's all stock except for I swapped the 32 tooth chainring out for a 36, and really because that 10 to 52 tooth cog is so much range, and I find that with the 32 tooth chainring, if you're in a situation to end up in the 52 tooth cog, it's pretty steep, and we're going so slow at that point. So anyway, the 36 works out pretty good with it. So I did have to put a different chain on it for this. So the stock chain with the 32 just wasn't long enough. When I went to the 36, I had to put a longer chain ring on it. And then the crank, I like the SRAM power meters, and on this XO crank, I just swapped the left crank arm out that has the power meter in the spindle. So you're effectively getting like left hand power. It's worked totally fine. It's works great. So no problems with that. I dig it. It's actually a pretty affordable upgrade if you have one of those and you don't care about having both sides. It's awesome. I'd recommend it. Easy upgrade. And then the dropper on it, I kind of, in a way, thought we were kind of getting carried away then with like the remote droppers. I dig it. It's pretty awesome. And I know there's people out there that they've had to like bleed it, or the air like burp. I have yet to have an issue with this, and I've been using it for a year now. One of the things that I think is pretty cool about the electronic dropper, if you're really serious about your racing and you feel like you're going somewhere where you don't need to have the dropper post and you want to, drop some more weight off the bike, you could have another rigid post with your other seat set up on it, and you just pop this out, put it in, got a lighter bike, no dropper, no big deal. It's something I thought about like early on, but I actually haven't done that, so I just leave it in. So but as far as riding, and I guess like comparison of bikes, I've had, I guess like, let's think of like modern boost bikes. I guess prior to that, my last like non-boost bike was a Felt Edict full suspension. And then, let's see, I had a Trek ProCal 9.8, had a Trek SuperCal 9.8, had, let's see, a Salsa Spearfish. Let's see what else. Spent time on Niner Air 9 RDO, we actually we have a Cervelo ZHT hardtail demo here. And then I'm trying to think of like bikes that are kind of similar. Oh, and then last year I was on a Niner Rocket. So anyway, kind of comparable bikes. So one of the things I like about this bike is I do think it climbs really well. So I don't feel like with the 120, and actually I think it's only like 115 in the back. They call it 120, but I don't think I'm giving anything up as far as like climbing, even going all the way back to say like the Super Cal or whatever. This bike's heavier, for sure, but I don't know. I'm climbing just as well in it, and I don't know. I'm not any lighter than I was a few years ago. Similar strength, maybe a little stronger. I don't know, but I don't think so. Kind of same ballpark. But and then I have a bike. The front end of this bike is very capable. So I've been using this for Minnesota Series XC races, and then it's also just been a fantastic all-arounder bike. So taking it to places where hitting some nice drops with it, some jumps and rock gardens and that type of thing. And I feel like at 45 years old, anything that I probably have any business throwing my bike over, like this bike takes it and handles it just fine. And then I still have the bike that is plenty worthy for XC races, and I'm not at the pointy end of the field anyway, so I'm not looking for the every half a second. So it's a bike that I really actually, from a mountain bike standpoint, can kind of cover about everything that I would want to do with it. I like that there's 2 bottle cages on it. It seems to be able to handle rowdier stuff just fine. And I've been like, so these zip ties here, this is that Shock Whiz from SRAM. And so I've been playing around with just tuning with the rear shock, trying to get it dialed in to my liking. And it's a pretty cool little device, actually. So, but anyway, it's, yeah, this has been a great bike. I thought I would share it. These have been on, actually this one has not been on closeout, but a bunch of the other builds have been on closeout. So, personal opinion, I feel like they launched their mountain bikes at a pretty horrible time as we were coming out of the COVID bike boom. And then I also personally think, because it was frustrating a bit too as a dealer, the amount of build specs that they offered in the variations was pretty wild. So there was mechanical GX, and then there was electronic GX, and then the transmission drive stuff come out. So then we got a transmission GX, transmission XO, and then on the 100 mil bikes or the hardtail, then you got the XSL. And then 3 or 4 months after they launched, then we got the Shimano builds, and it was just like too much. And so anyway, I'm curious to see where they go with them. If it's going to slim down their build specs very much like they do with the cyclocross bike and have a kind of a pretty narrowed down race spec build. But anyway, I believe there's more of these coming into stock in September. So, but anyway, pretty solid bike. Somebody mentioned the other day we were at the race and they were asking about the bike, and they brought up it seems like kind of like a quiver killer bike. And it kind of is. So I have a Niner Rip 29er that's a 150, 140 travel bike. And that bike is certainly more capable than this bike. But again, going back to at 45 years old, anything that I have any business throwing myself in a bike off of, the Rip will certainly allow me to make more mistakes. But, I got to come into work on Monday so I can eat. My family can eat. So this probably covers about anything that, like I said, I have any business tossing myself off of. So, and then it's a pretty fast bike too. So it's a really fast bike. But again, doesn't mean I don't want a long travel, kind of more a little bit party bike, because it is kind of fun having the freedom on those 150, 140 bikes. It's just a little bit extra to keep yourself out of trouble. But I'd say the downside of those bikes, though, like I think about our local trail, like Woolly Bike Club. Like this bike's fantastic over there, but taking like you get like a full trail bike or whatever, it can be a lot of bike for a trail like that. Definitely, certainly more bike than you need. So, and sometimes I don't know, underbiking can be a little fun. So, but anyway, anything I've ridden, I've never felt like I'm underbiked on it, and it's a pretty efficient bike. So, pretty excited about it. Thought I would share, and I probably should do one of these with the Rip then maybe too. So, anyway, thanks for tuning in. Any questions about the bikes? Let us know. I actually think, yeah, I think Lynn has this one listed on the website. I'm not necessarily excited to let it go, but I've said this before. We are constantly rotating through our demo bikes so we can try new stuff, and we kind of roll through them. So, but thanks. Later.